Hi everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're very well. Thank you for joining me here at Friendship Shaving. I'm your host Mark, and today I'll be shaving with a straight razor. I have it here and it is a beautiful Wacker razor from Solingen, Germany. Because of the light I won't quite be able to show you the design on the blade there, but it's a beautifully made razor with a sort of stylized barbershop notch. That point there is actually really sharp, and it caught me just the last time I used this. The soap today, which I've got on my little Macy brush, will be face lathering, is an homage to Creed's Green Irish Tweed, and it is the Stirling Soap Company's Sharp Dressed Man. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about some similarities in scent between the Green Irish Tweed by Creed and Davidoff's Coolwater. So that's all to come in this shave. For now, let me just wet my face. I have some just a little bit of excess soap on my face, so we'll rub that in. With a drop of water, and I can already feel that that is feeling really slick. Just that a little bit on my face, so there we are, drop more water and it's slicker still. I'm using my little flannel today. I've started to use this. My friend Sven sent me this, just a little. It's a great size for shaving because it's quite thin and small. It dries really quickly. Now obviously when I'm using a straight razor, I like to have my hands really dry. I don't want to put any moisture or any excess moisture in onto that carbon steel, so I will still use my towel. But this is a great thing for shaving. Now, let's get some of this soap on my face today. And I should tell you that I had a conversation in the comments section with a gentleman whose username is Sharted, a very strange username, but there we go. And we got into a conversation a little while back about similarities between Green Irish Tweed and Coolwater, and the gentleman recommended a fragrance site to me, and it is, I've written it down for you, I've written it here somewhere, Samples UK, Fragrance Samples UK, that's what it is, excuse me. Got a little sample of Creed's Green Irish Tweed, and this is their eau de parfum. So this is a 1 milliliter sample, and it was £3.42, and then there was a little bit of postage, and I popped this quite nice bag in as well. So I've got some Davidoff on here and some Green Irish Tweed on here already. Well, more on that later. But when I opened the Sharp Dressed Man today, what I got initially was a scent that definitely reminded me of Coolwater. Now, this little sample of Green Irish Tweed is the first I have ever had by Tweed themselves. I've heard a lot about this scent. I've heard, I'm sure like many of you, a great deal about this scent. But it is very expensive and it is beyond my price range. So it's actually really cool to just buy a very little sample, and that will last quite a while, I would imagine. So yeah, I'm very pleased to have that. But as I opened the soap today, having not had that before, the only thing really that I could relate the scent to was Coolwater, and it did smell very similar to those first notes that you smell when you smell Coolwater. Very similar indeed. And obviously when I got this little sample of green Irish Tweed, the first thing I did was take the cap off and smell just the spray there, and it did immediately smell of Coolwater. So that was my first sort of experience of the scent of green Irish Tweed. There we are, let's get this going and get this shave going. Or I'll just talk to you all afternoon. Now drink more water. Dry my hands. There we are, we're definitely not slipping out, and pick up this beautiful razor. These are entirely handmade, they're quite expensive, and I'm immensely pleased that Andrew trusted me to shave with his razors, and the edge on this has been put on by Adam at the invisible edge, and it's fantastic. As I say, the only bit to be wary of is right on there, and I'm touching it very lightly because that is lethal sharp there, and it just caught me the other day. So we'll get it going. Oh, that's really nice, guys. Really, really nice. This is a hollow ground razor. I prefer this to the Ralph Ulst, which was a half hollow ground razor in the end. And although that was nice, the edge on this is really smooth. Really nice indeed. So back to the soap and the gentleman that I was in touch with. He said he found out, sorry, back to the fragrance and the gentleman that was in touch with me. He said he found out that green Irish Tweed by Tweed and Coolwater were supposedly made by the same perfumer. I've looked into this a little bit further, and as far as I could see, Tweed so that all their fragrances are made in-house. It doesn't say made in-house by them, but who knows. But there is, and it's quite well documented, there is a gentleman called Pierre Bourdon who claims to have created green Irish tweed for Creed, and that gentleman is also the manufacturer of Coolwater. Now, whether that is true or not, I'm really not in a position to say. But looking at the Creed website, it describes green Irish tweed as being full of atmospheric green notes, enlivened with a sea breeze. The top notes open with a zing of peppermint and some verbena and lemon, verbena and lemon, with the classic trio of lavender, violet leaf and geranium, and dying down into some woody scents with some oak moss and some ambergris. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? On the Davidoff website, by comparison, Coolwater is described as opening up with peppermint and lavender, and then filling out with oak moss, geranium and sandalwood, and then dying down into amber and musk. So there are some similar ingredients. I have noticed that with both fragrances, the ingredients list, or the fragrant notes listed, seem to be different on various fragrance sites. So this was the information that I got from the Creed website and the Davidoff website respectively. For the Davidoff website, it didn't seem that there was many ingredients in the Coolwater. What I can say is that when I sprayed the green Irish tweed onto my wrist, and you must bear in mind that this is the eau de parfum and this is the aftershave, so this has the lowest scent out of all the products. I think it goes aftershave, which obviously is good for your skin, but doesn't have so many scents. It's not such a strong scent. And then I think it goes eau de toilette, eau de cologne and eau de parfum, increasing in the strength of the fragrance as you go on. So I thought I got myself there. Do you know, I'm not doing very well with this Wacker. It's whacking me. But when I first sprayed this green Irish Tweed on my wrist, and I put the Davidoff on this wrist, the green Irish Tweed was really, really green and entirely different from the Coolwater. It's interesting as well that already, and this has been on for 10 minutes. This is just one squirt, one little squirt, and that was just, I turned the bottle like that. This has really, really died down. It's really tame now, but this is still quite strong. But that green scent was really strong when I first put it on, and it was just nothing like the Coolwater. And it went through a period, about 5 minutes in, as that sort of green, well, leafy, you know, like really green and leafy, that sort of died down a little bit. And I suppose more of the lavender came through, and they did smell very similar for a little time. The green Irish Tweed is much more rich, in my humble opinion. But having said that, I do like the Coolwater. I really like the Coolwater. I wonder how, you know, equal scents of fragrance would compare with each other. Just very interesting. Very, very interesting. I've not really done anything like this before on the channel. So I really thank that gentleman for pointing me in this direction, and pointing me to fragrance samples UK. I'm sure there are many fragrance sites like it, but that just allowed me to go and buy a little sample and smell the real deal. Green Irish Tweed came out first, and I think whoever manufactured it and made it or designed that perfume, if that's the right word, whatever the real story is there, I think there's no doubt that Davidoff's Coolwater has some similarities to the Green Irish Tweed. perhaps it was originally designed as a sort of homage or I don't know, maybe a cheaper alternative. Well, that's a little saw there going over that cut, we'll leave that alone. I got a bit carried away, guys. We're going against the grain. Happily going along. Got a bit cocky and suddenly the end just slipped in there. The joys of a straight razor, eh? And you'll notice today that I'm just doing passes with the grain. Mostly, and a little bit across the grain on here, and just keeping it nice and easy today. There we are. I've opened that up slightly there. There we are. I'm going to leave it at that today, but that is quite a wonderful straight razor. I think if it was mine, I would just run that very edge over a glass ball. I can feel it with my finger. It's just sharp. You would be surprised if I said otherwise. Now let's wipe this off, and I will clean it properly in a moment, just to make sure there's no moisture in the hinge or anything like that. But yeah, it is a beautiful razor, handmade in Germany, in Solingen. Beautiful. Thank you, Andrew. Oh yeah, it's very sharp. I quite saw there. Well, no surprise there really. I'm going to just rinse with a drop of cold water. I don't want to be putting hot water on there because that would just encourage the blood flow. So we'll use a drop of cold. We will put on a little bit of alum. That's all there. Yeah, I did. I went a bit low there. I caught that with the razor. I don't know what I was shaving down there for. Bloody ridiculous. I've got no stinging, no razor burn, except for where I cut myself. So what do I do today? Do I use a green Irish tweed? Do I use the Coolwater? Well, actually, I am going to use the green Irish Tweed, but I'm going to put some Nivea on first. I'm going to use a balm, which is good for the skin and good for healing. And of course, Nivea is very cheap, doesn't have much of a scent, so that is good. And we'll just let that sit for a moment, and I will put on some green Irish Tweed. And what I can say, now that is just about gone. Whereas the green Irish Tweed, it's not super strong, but it's really nice. Obviously, as I said, there were differences in the strengths between the products used. I would say very generally that there are definitely some similarities. You know, as I said, I picked this up and my first thought was that it smelled of Coolwater, but now I've sprayed it, it's smelling much more green. Now it'd be interesting if I left that, what one would assume that it would eventually smell like the Coolwater again as it continued to die down. Yeah, much bolder, much more green, much more depth to the green Irish Tweed, but definitely some similarity, at least with the products that I've got, the aftershave and the eau de parfum. Now, close my eyes. There we go. Now I'll tell you what guys, that smells really, really green, entirely different from the Coolwater in those first notes, in that first spray. You're getting really the leafy verbena, you know, on a wet day. I've kind of smelled that smell in the garden. It's nice, very nice indeed. So that's my shave. Thank you very much for joining me, Andrew. Thank you once again. I will actually pack these razors of yours up now and send them back to you because I've had them for ages. Sharted, thank you very much for your interesting comments. That was really worthwhile exploring a little bit more. I wonder how much that went down with one spray. It is good stuff, this. I'll put all the links in the description. Thanks for joining me. You take care now. Bye-bye.